Are you ready to walk down a path of enchantment? Dilly Dallying in Dollyworld takes you to a reality with beings ranging from angels to listeners, all sharing thoughts on divergent subjects, from desserts to messages from beyond. Dilly Dallying in Dollyworld with Dolly Howard begins now. Produced by Haggy Shack Radio's Colleen Kelly and broadcasting over the Wolf Spirit Radio Network.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Saturday, December 3rd, 2016. We're getting close to the end of 2016. I can't believe it. We're going to enter 2017. I'm living in my future. Never thought I would live this long. I figured it all out when I was sitting in third grade. And I knew I wouldn't live to be old enough to graduate high school. Because you know, when you're in third grade, that's a long time away. Oh, but anyway, you're listening to Dilly Dallying in Dollyworld. And I've been feeling kind of wonky, weird all day and been mostly in bed, so... And it's not that I'm sick, I'm just feeling wonky, weird. So who knows what's going to go on today. My guests are Deb Riel and Nancy Hopkins, but first let me tell you that you're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio, and it's Haggy Shack Radio simulcast somehow with Wolf Spirit. They play together. Usually nicely. We have, free shows in the archives, the current archives, for a week after the show airs live. Then they're moved over into the paid archives where you pay $5 a month and you've got access to the shitload of archives, like I like to say it. At the end of the month, you will be notified that your subscription's about to run out, and you can decide if you want to do it again or not. It's all up to you. Nobody's forced to do anything, and I like it that way. No forcing of people's to do stuff they don't want to do. If you have questions or comments, please be sure to put them in all caps in the chat room. I don't care if you talk among yourselves, but please, when you talk among yourselves and the show is live, don't type caps unless they're directed toward me or Colleen or Nancy or Deb today. I think I have touched on everything. Did I get everything? Oh, no. There's donate buttons on Wolf Spirit Radio and on Haggy Shack Radio. If you donate $30 or more on Haggy Shack Radio, Nancy will provide you with $30 worth of S4 Shungite stickers. I think it's 3 of them that you get. That's a frickin' deal, y'all. It's just a deal. So it'll change your life, and you will be surprised. I know I was. I thought Nancy was that crazy woman who didn't know anything but Shungite. And then Shungite entered my life. Now I've become that crazy woman whose whole house is Shungited. So beware when you start to make a judgment, because you may be eating your words. I know I was, and I love it. I'm so glad it worked out that way. Now, I have told you I'll start and end each show with an angel card. So let me do that. Okay, angels, please take a look at who's here, who's going to be here, who's going to listen to the show. Let me pull just the right card for everybody. Oh, let's see. Oh, you want that one? Or this one? Oh no, it's this one, because my hairs are standing up. Okay. Oh, I forgot to open the angel card file so I can read it to you. Let's see. This is Archangel Metatron. We've had him before. Or her. That Archangel. Number 9. Archangel Metatron, Sacred Geometry. Archangel Metatron comes forth this day to remind you of how thoughts create are very powerful and can change your life for better or worse. Your thoughts can create your world that you choose to live in. Metatron would like to advise you to be aware of this fact and to understand that as you think and speak, you are creating your world around you. Your thoughts and words on an energetic level are shapes of geometric patterns. The vibration will depend on the patterning. The most recent example of this is Dr. Masaru Emoto's experiment with water crystals. And remember, I read all his water books to y'all on Durfee. Dolly reads for you. He showed how positive words created beautiful snowflakes and how negative words created damaged snowflakes. Science has proven that nature is made of sacred geometry patterns. We are part of this patterning, and so is the earth. We have an energy grid around us like the earth. Ask Archangel Metatron to bring this light and healing into your grid and the earth's grid. Feel the crystals in sacred geometry patterns. Have fun experimenting with patterns that speak to you. Give thanks to Metatron for his guidance. Thank you, Metatron. And thank you, angels, for helping me to draw that perfect card. And we'll draw one at the end of the show, and I always love to see that one too, because every time I've drawn one at the end of the show, it has been perfect for what we have discussed during the show. It just amazes me. I don't know why it amazes me, but it does. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do today is discuss the latest, because Colleen's right up to the last minute on the Standing Rock issue. I'd like her to give us an update, and then we can discuss that a little bit. And then I'd kind of like to talk about aftermath of the election with Trump having been elected and thoughts on that. Kind of wrap it up, because we've been talking about it for a while now, but we're more into the real situation, so I would like to discuss any current things there and whatever else comes up. So if y'all want to come in, Nancy and Deb.
Hi.
Howdy. How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm a little weird today, not too altered, but my communication internet's really wonky. So I'm on a hotspot and I got a standby phone and I'm on the computer, but I have no internet at my house. So I'll be here as long as it lets me. Glad to be here.
What do you mean by a hotspot, Deb?
That's what I ordered one. I had to pay for one through my one cell phone. And I have a different phone too, and I've got a tablet. I've got all this stuff, but I live way in the back of the yard and I don't get good internet because I'm too far from my landlady's house and it's totally off today. And I've been not panicking, but for about an hour I've been trying to get this all organized. I thought I might have to leave the house and sit in the car and do it near my mechanic. But right now I'm good, so I'm happy to be here. I've been working on it for an hour.
Wow. So a hotspot is a mechanical item?
It's through my internet company. I'm with Boost, and so you just put $5 in your account or something, and then I get 1G, so I might have to order more. I don't know how much this is going to use. And then you order a hotspot, and then your phone acts like an internet router or something. So then I can connect my computer and another phone to my hotspot on my cell phone. It's complicated, at least to me. The young people, it's probably nothing, you know.
Sounds complicated to me.
I know. It took me an hour, let me tell you.
So Nancy, are you back?
I am back, yes, and Deb, just let's just do this. It was a technique that Gene Rockefeller suggested, that you think of yourself in a blue sphere. And the blue is a communication. It enhances communication. Then around the blue sphere, put a gold sphere. And that gold sphere is an element of protection for what you're doing. Then when I talked to Christine, we did this, she said, I think we need a platinum on it too. I said, fine, let's put a platinum sphere around the gold sphere that's around the blue sphere. And then today somebody said, what about the purple ray? I said, oh, fine, we'll use a purple ray too. So you're going to have a blue sphere, a gold sphere, a platinum sphere, and the purple ray sphere all around you, as we have it around us and our people that are out there listening to us, so that we have perfect communications and are completely protected.
Oh, now, good. I love it. I did.
Now, I know that we do a lot of different techniques for protection. However, I also believe that reality is what you think it is, and numbers matter. So if more of us just agree on some symbology in order to protect our communications in this day of Internet, then the more people that use the exact same symbology will essentially feed more power to it. So I'm just putting it out there. Gene taught it to me, and it's grown because of what other people have said, but let's give it a try.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, I'm doing it too.
And I'm not in chat today either, by the way, because I don't want to have too many windows open. So, but if, you know, I'll answer chat here in Skype. But I apologize for not being in regular Wolf Spirit chat or Haggy Shack chat.
Well, I never do that because I can't keep myself straight.
Too much.
I can't do a live show and in the chat at the same time. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It took me practice. At first,
JP's good, and you're good at it, Dolly. You and JP are good at doing both.
Well, first I couldn't do it for nothing. And I just forced myself to keep trying, and now I can somewhat do it.
Yeah, you're pretty good, and Colleen can do it, too. Oh, well.
She is the lady of many talents.
That's so true.
So, did you hear what I was hoping we could talk about? Unless y'all have something, a hot topic we need to discuss.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just want to tell you guys that what I've got happening in Say What, because you both agreed to, well, Deb's supposed to be on Say What anyway. It's the first, it's the first Saturday. But you both agreed to come on over to Say What. And what I did was I got a hold of Barbara Three Crow. Okay. And in the second hour of the Say What show, we're going to do a live prayer ceremony for Standing Rock.
Ooh.
Great.
Okay, so she's going to come on at 6. Gene Rockefeller is kind of bailed out. Maybe she'll feel good enough to come on for a little bit, but she's not feeling really well. So Barb's going to come on at 6, and we'll talk about Standing Rock from her perspective, what she might have updated. But we can easily talk about it now. It's a big subject. It's a subject that we need to talk about. So I'm not against it. I just want you to know that we are, in fact, doing something active to make a difference over there, which is a prayer ceremony led by Barbara.
Awesome.
Is Jean ill?
Ill is a weird thing to say about Jean because she just doesn't feel like she's up to doing the show. So it could be that she's just not feeling the draw. It could be she's really not feeling good.
Right.
But regardless, if she gets prompted, she will be there. I am sure of it. And the energies are squirrely. Well, you're not feeling good today, you say, Dolly, and the energies are very squirrely. Yeah. But that's what it is.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling. It's not that I'm sick.
Yeah.
I'm just really wonky.
Okay, we got a question. Let me just answer it here. In Thea 77, I do rainbow spear, then gold, then platinum. Is it also okay? Sure, it's anything you want, but what we're talking about here is using a blue spear because of the communication. This is designed for just use of the radio people. I mean, you can use it anytime, but we're trying to get like a similar symbol for communication. And Jean says that the blue, enhances communication. That's why we did that instead of a rainbow. But, whatever you feel comfortable with, really. Okay, sorry, Dolly. I just felt we needed to answer.
That's fine. You jump in anytime you feel like it. Colleen, you want to give us the latest?
Well, there's a bunch of stuff going on.
Oh, I knew you'd know.
One is a whole lot of the veterans have started arriving.
Yay.
And bringing with them those wonderful, huge military tents.
Oh, cool.
So there have been some that have kind of trickled in all along, and they've been standing with the protesters between the security of DAPL and the protesters, protectors, kind of as shields. Also, they've reenacted the no-fly zone. They're not like see, some of the protectors have drone cameras.
I saw that.
That are really awesome to watch because you can see it live, and it's just wonderful watching those. But they're not liking those a lot because they're, showing you what's going on.
Well, yeah, they're tattletales.
So,
They have them, but we can't.
right. So apparently the DAPL security and the police can use planes and helicopters and drones.
Right.
But they're either jamming signals or confiscating, actually downing the protesters' drones. I just watched a video, it was back from October, where they actually stopped Myron Dewey and confiscated his drone. They didn't tell him why they stopped him for a long time. They said they had a warrant to search his vehicle, and he asked...
On what ground?
Well, he asked for the warrant, or the number of the warrant, and they never did give that to him.
They lied.
Yes. So that's one thing that's going on. Also, I wanted to say that the pipeline company was successful in pulling the pipeline beneath the Des Moines, Iowa River. There was also some stand with Des Moines things going on, but apparently the pipeline was successful, and that happened around 4 o'clock this morning. Trump has announced that he does support the pipeline.
What'd you say?
Trump announced that he supports the pipeline.
Oh, man, that wouldn't even register in my head. Thank you.
Attorney General Loretta Lynch issued a statement from the Justice Department today, asking for everyone involved to follow the laws, and be peaceful. Whatever.
Which laws?
Well...
Whose laws?
Well, that's a good question, because DAPL's breaking a whole bunch of them, as are those who are protecting the pipeline. Okay, and apparently she also called the Morton County Sheriff Kirchmeier, and they had a nice chat. Don't know how that went. Also, some veterans canoed from the Pacific Northwest to and that's through the Missouri River.
Wow.
To Standing Rock.
Oh my.
Let's see what else. I guess Red Fawn it's reported that she was transferred once again from Mandan County to Morton County. Or no.
Before you go on, can you give a little brief on her situation for those that may not know it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know who's Red Fawn.
Red Fawn was working in the front lines as a medic, helping those who had been shot with rubber bullets. And I got a picture of those rubber bullets. They're not tiny little things. Those are huge.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, she was people that had been sprayed with water cannons and all that, like she was helping to clean their faces from the chemicals being sprayed on them. And also trying to get them back, to like a medic's tent. And then coming back, and they kind of attacked her, kind of signaled her out, actually, and arrested her. And there were several cops that threw her to the ground and were like on top of her, had her hands behind their back. One of the cops had a gun out and stuck against her back. Somehow a gun went off. 3 shots were reportedly fired. So they arrested her and have charged her with attempted murder. Or
all those big ass men jumping her, and they charge her with attempted murder.
Yeah, she's just a little bitty gal.
Oh.
So, Colleen, do you know, was there ever a gun found? Has there ever been a gun?
Well, the gun would have been the cops, because he said he let go of her arm, and somehow she got hold of his gun.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, they charged her, but the charges were dropped on a local level because the federal government picked it up. So there were reports out that she'd been released, the charges dropped, but she was not released. She was moved to another facility, and then the federal charges picked up, although I'm not quite sure if they've been formally charged or not. So they're trying to get up money for her legal defense.
I was going to say, does she even have a lawyer?
Well, if they give her a court-appointed, that's not going to be any good, because court-appointed attorneys generally get paid by the system, so.
Yes.
So I don't know if she's got a lawyer yet or not, so that's kind of what's going on with her.
Wow.
She was taken from Morton County to Stutzman's County, and they do this without warning.
Well, has anyone been able to see her to see if they're treating her properly?
Well, that I don't know. I do know that for several days her sisters knew that she'd been arrested, but they couldn't find where she was or anything. They didn't know what the charges were or anything for several days. Then they heard about, that she was supposed to go before the judge. So they went to the courthouse only to find that the charges had been dropped and she'd been moved.
Oh my God.
The packages and things that were being sent to her were not given to her. And of course moving her around, then, if you send stuff to one jail and she's at another, I don't know if they then send all the stuff to the new jail or if it just sits there. I don't know. So they're having trouble even being able to send her, money or, things that people need when they're in jail, toothbrushes, soaps, stuff like that. So that, anyway.
Oh. I would think in her case they're not going to give it to her.
Well, they're trying real hard not to. I keep thinking about Leonard Peltier. And
Now, who's Leonard Peltier?
Well, back years and years and years ago when AIM, the American Indian movement, started up, when they were taking land, what is this, back in the 60s, early 70s? Which was that? Which one?
I don't know.
Gosh, my Wounded Knee, maybe? There was a big, raid and stuff, cause, they were protesting, no, you're not taking our land, no, you're not doing this, and blah, blah, blah. So, apparently an officer was shot. They blamed Leonard Peltier, who apparently wasn't even there at the time, but he was a big one in the AIM movement. So then
Scapegoat.
Yeah, and it's more than scapegoat stuff. It's intimidation. If you guys continue this, then they pick one that say, okay, this is the one that means a lot to you, so we want to do this so that you guys are scared to do anything.
Blackmail.
And he's been in prison all these years. And, yeah.
Colleen?
Yeah.
Saffron 414 they posted a question, so who got shot? So could you say the lady's name again?
To my knowledge, nobody got shot.
Oh, okay. Just she was accused of pulling the officer's gun.
She was accused of getting his gun and firing shots.
Okay.
Okay. To my knowledge, one was shot, actually.
Okay.
So, anyway.
Thank you.
There was a suit filed by the National Lawyers Guild against Morton County Sheriff's Department and the other law enforcement agencies for excessive use of force against the water protectors. But that was denied because of an alleged procedural error.
Oh.
So, I'm sure that whatever the procedural error was, that
somebody forgot to dot an I.
Or something, or they do have a big time lawyer now. So I'm hoping that, they can get these filed and all that kind of stuff, and somebody actually has the balls to stand up and follow the law. And again, as I said, the first big group of veterans have arrived, and their first action was on the Backwater Bridge, which is the bridge heading out of Standing Rock, headed north towards Bismarck, and the, I'm going to say police, but I have a problem calling them police. They blockaded it.
Right. The bridge?
Yeah. And they have razor wire, cause they got, the big not pylons, the big pieces of concrete that you see alongside roads and stuff.
Yeah.
They've got those there's a bunch of them blocking off that bridge, and then they've got razor wire up around it.
This governor is so afraid that the people are going to get hurt, and he allows that to happen?
Exactly. Because, he's issued.
Is that the one that's not allowing the emergency services through while they were trying to open it? Or are there...
Right. That's because the people were saying, we can't get ambulances, anything here. We can't get fire trucks if we have a fire. And, so yeah, and they're, okay, back up a minute. They issued this evacuation order, both the governor and, Army Corps of Engineers. And then they have reversed that. Okay, we're not going to force the eviction, they say. However, several days after him saying, I'm not going to force it, there was an article in the Bismarck Tribune saying that the governor had asked for federal assistance on the eviction. So then he said, okay, I'm not going to force the eviction, but I am going to fine anyone bringing in supplies. $1,000 a fine.
Are you kidding me?
So are they searching the cars and the people?
Well, if there's a big truck of food or whatever coming in, they will stop it and fine the driver. You know.
Under what,
aiding and abetting,
do they
I
have
guess.
to stop these vehicles?
Well, I'm not sure they have any right, and I don't think they care that they have no rights. Like when they stopped, Myron Dewey, they didn't really have a right, because they said that he was stalking the DAPL security with his drone camera.
Boy, they had to stretch for that one.
Yeah. And as I say, he asked for the search warrant, the search warrant number, blah, 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 officers' names. They wouldn't give their names or any of that. So everything they did was illegal, but they still did it. So, you know, and I've been saying, you know, okay, the governor said, you know, that he's done this eviction because he wants to make sure those people are safe in harsh winter conditions. And yet he's stopping food and medical supplies and heat. And then Ace Hardware has decided to back the sheriff's department, and they've said that they're not selling any supplies to the people at Standing Rock.
They can't legally do that.
Well,
they're doing everything illegal, so
So, people around the country have been calling their Ace Hardware stores, saying, we're not doing business with you anymore. But the veterans are also bringing in propane. So,
yeah.
Let me see if there's anything else. Okay, a water protector's drone was hacked and stolen by law enforcement while covering the veterans' action at the Backwater Bridge. I'm not sure what went on at the Backwater Bridge, because a whole lot of the live feeds that were happening last week, we're not seeing. They're saying that the signals have been blocked. A lot of the videos put up on Facebook and YouTube are being immediately taken down. So I'm not quite sure what happened at the Backwater Bridge last night. But
let me interject here. Via 778 says, I wish you guys had something more positive to say. Well, so the heck do I.
For sure. Well, the protectors are still doing their prayers, and for the most part, it's peaceful. However, there are some infiltrators that are trying to stir up trouble. There have been
in the camp.
Yes, yes. People posing as protectors, but are maybe working for DAPL, or are being paid to go there just to stir up crap.
Well, I would think that the real protectors would be able to shut those people down.
Well, I'm sure, but you know, a whole lot of this stuff is, you know, a whole bunch of people sitting around talking, and they get angry and blah, 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 you know, but it only takes one person to throw a rock, because, you know, you got all that big military, and they're all in their tanks and all that, and somebody throws a rock.
Yes, they might get hurt.
Yes.
Like scratch a tank.
So they, they've got all that equipment and guns and all that kind of stuff, but it just takes one person.
Right.
And plus there's a whole bunch of BS going on from DAPL and the sheriff's office and all that, saying, this is going on and we got to protect ourselves and all that kind of stuff. So, they've had, of course, everybody knows they've had a lot of snow up there, but these people, the indigenous people have lived up in there for thousands and thousands of years, so they know how to stay warm in the winter up there.
Right.
And they are community-based, so they're not like, no, this is my food, or,
Right.
And supplies and stuff are being sent, and they have a whole bunch of hats and stuff like that. I saw a video yesterday of all the stuff they got. But now supplies are having problems getting through. So, and then you got the eviction thing that's supposed to happen on the 5th.
When is it? Oh, Monday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you see the report? I saw something yesterday, I think it was on BuzzFeed, that said federal civil rights watchdog will travel to Standing Rock. And there was a quote from the chairman of the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, and they said, "This is, to me, the closest thing to what we've done since the time that we would go down in the 60s to the Jim Crow South." And then I'll look further down the article, and it says the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights will send a delegation to visit the campsite in North Dakota, where hundreds of people have gathered to protest the building of the Dakota Access Pipeline.
So what will they be doing when they go there?
They're going to make sure, or at least assess, that, what does it say? That it's the civil rights.
Deb,
so
what's the date on that? What's the date?
It's yesterday. It was posted yesterday at noon, and it's on BuzzFeed News. And the title of it is Federal Civil Rights Watchdog Will Travel to Standing Rock. And it looks like they're going there, a few of them, to assess what is happening with civil rights. So that could be for the people there, the indigenous. So it's pretty big, I would say.
So can you copy that site in?
Yes.
And then I can put it in the chat room?
I'll do that right now.
Well, supposedly I don't know about supposedly. The UN and other rights groups, have been out there to assess and report back. But we don't see much stopping at this point. The only, if it's been stopped, because I don't know, because we haven't had, a lot of live feeds this week.
Right.
To show what is going on. But then too, you got all that snow and all that sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
The roads to the camp from the bridge have not been, the county comes out and clears the road. Well, they cleaned them all up until the bridge, and then, so the roads are rather hazardous, but it's not stopping people coming in, and it sure isn't stopping the veterans. So, and it's been several days, so I'm sure that they're, passable and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's a lot going on.
On one of the lists Barbara 3 Crow had sent to me, they were, I think, or somewhere I read, they were asking for vehicles with 4-wheel drive and big vehicles that could get through some of the snow drifts and things.
Right, and snow plows, tire chains. Yeah. For the snow, I'm not sure how good they're going to be on the ice, because, it kind of warms up a little bit, and then the snow freezes and all that. So they're asking for a whole lot of that.
I would think they could even use those 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 things they ride in the snow.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like not jet skis. Snowmobiles, yeah.
That's it. Thanks, Nancy.
Well, I'm sure you know that some of those people up in there probably have them, although they're kind of expensive. So, I'm sure that there's some of that up in there. And you know that the people protecting DAPL have all kinds of equipment that they can use.
Sure.
So, yeah, there's just been an awful lot going on, and this is just some of the things. And there are links to all the stuff I've told you about. If you got Facebook, this information was done by Sacred Stone Camp. So if you go to Facebook and type that in your search, you'll find it. But then I've also got links to all of this information that I've just given you. Well, most of it.
I'm reading what PM just said. I'm sure someone will dig a supply tunnel in their large tent. I thought of that a while ago, PM. It cracks me up.
Well, yeah. And I'm sure those veterans are gonna make sure that supplies are coming through too.
Yeah.
Because a whole lot of this stuff that they're doing is illegal and could be considered acts of war against our own citizens. So that's a big concern as well. Definitely human rights violations going on all over the place because the Constitution does guarantee your right to protest. Your government, if you're not, if you don't agree what's going on, you do have the right to peaceful protest.
And they are doing peaceful.
Yes. I mean, just because they're hollering doesn't mean it's not peaceful.
Right. They aren't shooting rubber bullets at the enforcers.
Right.
Like Vanessa says, call them enforcers.
and they're singing and they're praying, but it's not like, okay, at the Methodist church where you pray quietly. Their prayers are not all that quiet.
They're more charismatic.
Yeah. So, and that could be, they're yelling at the officers. Excuse me, but the officers are up there with bullhorns, saying.
Yeah, really.
So,
blasting them with cold water.
And sound, weapons.
Yes.
For like hours at a time, and people are reporting having, their ears are bleeding and stuff like that.
Oh.
So yeah, that's what's going on so far that I'm aware of, and if there's other things that I've forgotten. Because, I search constantly, all day long, for new news coming out, what's going on. Try to find some, it's positive kinds of things and post that as well, but, unfortunately most of the news is not good. A whole bunch of people went to Fargo Bank, locked arms,
Wells Fargo,
yes. Locked arms, wouldn't let the employees up to the elevator area so they could go to work. They wanted to shut down Wells Fargo, at least for the day, to get Wells Fargo to pull their money out of the pipeline.
Oh, I wondered what that was about.
Because they, if you pull the investors' money out of it, then the pipeline will fail, is the reasoning behind that. Some of it got pushy-shovey.
There was an earlier protest against Wells Fargo where a bunch of people in California, if I remember correctly, pulled their money out of the bank.
Oh yeah.
Heard that last week.
Well, there's a movement going on. If you have an account with one of the 36, I think it is the number of banks that are funding this pipeline, to go to your bank and take your money out and tell them why, and videotape it and post it.
Oh.
And,
are they going to allow videotape in the bank? Do they do that?
What? You got your phone?
I know, but do they allow you to videotape in the bank?
I don't know if in the bank, but people are posting it, okay, I'm going to the bank. And I don't know if you can videotape because people are using their phones in there.
Well, you can record, right? So you put the thing into a record, even if it's in your pocket and it's videotaping, and you just make sure that when you say, I'm taking my money out, and get the woman to say, okay, you're taking your money out, and I'm taking it out for this reason. Do you understand?
Right, and get it on.
So you have it on tape if you if they won't let you do video. And I suggest do not do video, because then they can get you because you've got somebody on your camera who you then post, and, they can go after you for a lot of things. But some boys, you say, I'm at the Wells Fargo Bank and I'm taking my money out because blah, 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 blah. And, get the person on the other side just to say, do you understand what I'm saying? And, then if they say yes, then, you got it.
We might want to look into that too, because when you call companies, they have to tell you they're recording you. So you may have to say, I'm recording this, even if it's an audio. But I would look into that to make sure, so you don't
have to say it on the phone, yeah.
Right.
Well, anyway, that's what they're doing. And as I say, I don't know if they're recording in the bank per se, although the protesters and stuff, there was people videotaping. In Wells Fargo. Okay. So, they are saying, tape it, put it up so that other people see it to, get the idea how you do this and blah, blah, blah. Let me see.
What has a question in chat again. She asks, so how many veterans have arrived there now, by estimate? Do we know?
I don't know, but they just said today that it was a large number. Arrived today. They're expecting up to, I think the last number I heard was 3,000.
Wow.
And they're saying that that's just the ones who are registered. Because they've got these sites that, Veterans for Standing Rock, they got these sites and you go register there. A lot of them are not registering. They're just going.
Right.
So we don't know, I don't know that we'll ever know exactly how many are there, but they are expecting at least 3,000 last I heard.
I'd like to just sort of jump in here and point something out, because we said, gee, I wish you guys could be more positive.
Right.
And, when you think in terms of the small things and the terrible things that are happening to the individuals and the animals, we do have a horse that was killed. That's not getting a lot of talk, but this horse was killed.
Well, he was injured and they had to put him down.
Yeah. From either rubber bullets and or concussion grenades, which are flashbang grenades.
Okay, so they have committed murder.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I know, and a group of veterinarians, also are at Standing Rock. Taking care of the horses that were injured or that might be injured, because the riders are still there with their horses because they can go off-road and all that sort of thing. So
there is a donation where you can put in money, because the rider that lost the horse was contacted by people that seem legitimate who are offering him a new horse, and they're taking money for to get the trailer and all that to get the horse out to him. Not sure how that's going to go, but there are positive things happening here, because if you think about it, okay, now for the first time in 76, so I don't know, 225 years, 50 years, whatever it is, that this country has been in existence, over 75% of the time we've been at war. American soldiers have been continually put on the battlefront. We know that they were there because they thought they were protecting America and Americans. But we know, because we've been at this business for a while now, the Truther movement, we know that they were working for corporations. For the first time in the history of this country, American soldiers, because once you're a vet, you're a soldier forever. I can tell you I'm a vet. They're standing up for Americans against corporations.
Yeah.
This is what this is about.
And there are a lot of videos up from these veterans saying exactly that, Nancy. That, you know, they went and fought for their country only to discover that they're fighting for the corporations, and they come back home and see what our police officers are doing to the people and what these private security forces are doing to the people here, and as well as the army, the reserves, National Guards, I'm sorry, who are also working for DAPL. They've seen all of that going on, and they're like, oh, hell no. We went up to other countries to fight for our country, only to find out that our country is doing the same thing here. So they're standing up for the people because they took that oath, you know, to protect the citizens against enemies, foreign and domestic.
Yeah.
So they
I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah, they're discovering that the ones the government is calling enemies are not the enemies.
The government seems to be the enemy, and that's just ludicrous.
Well, the government works for these large corporations, and that's what's being discovered more and more.
Yeah, the money talks.
Yeah, bottom line.
No, it's not that there is no government. It's run by a corporation. That's what the problem is.
Yep.
There is no republic. That's what the problem is. And to me, if you think about what these people are doing, they are willing to confront and to create a situation that is not going to bode well for them at all. And I look at it and I go, somebody who is deranged who's in charge of this, because it's suicidal what they're doing. You're going to take on the vets? No. No. You should never have let it go this far. Do you know that I don't remember the guy's name. I think his first name was Brandon. And he was videotaped by his brother-in-law as he was being arrested by 3 different jurisdictions, put in a cruiser, and during this, what are you arresting me for? What are you arresting me for? Somebody said, one of these 3 people said, well, something you wrote on Facebook. And yeah, no, this is true. This happened about probably 4 or 5 years ago at this point. I haven't lost track of time. But what happened was that they couldn't find him. His mother, his brother, his sister, they couldn't find him. Family couldn't find him. But they had this videotape. So they went on YouTube and went public. And this caught the attention of a law group, the Rutherford Foundation. And John Whitehouse, I think his name is, he was the lawyer that got involved in this. And what they found out was that, okay, first off, they did finally find him. They found out that he was being moved around, so that they had to chase him. I mean, all the things that you discussed earlier about the fawn. What's her name? I'm sorry.
Red Fawn.
Red Fawn. When they finally got so that they could create a court situation regarding his case, they got him off. They got him out. But in doing this thing, it continually ran the circuit of the Facebook. And it was very, very, everybody was up on top of this. What happened was that they were completely swamped by people from all over Virginia. This is a Virginia situation, who were saying, my daughter's missing, my son's missing. And the thing that was behind all of these missing people, they were all veterans. And they actually discovered that over 20,000, now back when, 20,000 veterans had disappeared in the state of Virginia alone.
Oh my.
Oh.
All right. Now, why would this be happening? Because they're the people that know war. They're the people that know how to fight, and they're the people that have the guns. And you know what this Facebook thing turned out to be? Him and his sister and brother were playing some game, some digital game. But instead of using the programming, they were just doing it from, in their heads. And they took this to be, and I looked at what they were pointing to, and I'm going like, good Lord, I've said the same thing. So, the fact that the veterans are there, I'm sorry, there's an awful lot of veterans, Yeah. And it would be the last thing in the world that I would want to see, but it may be the thing that we need to see, because what I see happening is that the old world is crumbling, and it's like you've got this deadly snake in your hands, and it's thrashing around, just trying to do anything it can, and it's in a death grip. It's not gonna be let go. And they're digging this themselves. Digging is a good, dig the pipeline. Because when push comes to shove, as Barbara has pointed out, there is a prophecy, a Hopi prophecy regarding the black snake that covers the ground. And when that happens in the prophecy, it's the end. Now, it doesn't specify the end of what. But to know that the people that are there on the ground, the indigenous people, and that they understand that prophecy, they have no options. They have to stop it. And the veterans are going to have to stand with them.
Right, which is awesome.
So to me, this is unfortunate that we have to take it to this point, but the irony of the First Nation people, the people whose their way of a federation in New York and the Algonquin area, those people are what we took our Constitution and mirrored. They were the ones that taught about federations and about tribes coming together. Now, the difference being is that they didn't have a federal government, and that's where everything got screwed up. But what the first people know about prayer, about human potential, about the links between spirituality, that is the secret that the dark side does not want humanity to know. They cannot allow the indigenous people to stand up and tell their truth. Because should they, then the rest of us are going to know that truth, and evil is damned. And that to me is the magic of what's happening.
Well, I think it's a good thing that my brain today, the veterans, that's the word I was looking for, are working with the Native Americans since they were in conflict early on. So they're coming together against the corporations. And, they make corporations people. So this whole thing, when you were talking earlier, Nancy, about the veterans coming and all that, I got chills all over my body. And I know I heard this on another show, I'm not sure which one y'all were doing, that this is so much bigger than we all realize. I think we do realize, or we're starting to. This is tremendous. And
okay, we gotta hold that thought right there, Deb.
Okay, is it break?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Don't forget where you are, okay?
I was pretty much done. Okay.
Oh, well, you want to finish?
No, that was it. It's just big, and there's a lot of spiritual, there's a lot of ancestors, there's the earth, there's just a lot of energy behind this. And it is part of the shift, for sure. And it's huge.
It is huge.
Yeah.
And people are beginning to see it.
Yes.
I'm glad. Okay, Colleen, you want to take us out for a break?
Sure. We'll be back in about 6 minutes.
Thank you.
Alrighty, and we are back.
Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about Standing Rock. Colleen gave us an update, and we're having a discussion about it. And Nancy said Three Crows coming on Say What at the second hour of that. And we're going to do a prayer, is it, Nancy?
She's actually coming on at 6 o'clock.
Oh.
6 o'clock for her, Colleen. Jean's not coming on unless later. And so we'll talk to her, what she may know now. And also I want her to give her, she's already done it, to give I call it the secret, okay, what it is that's really being fought for. It's a way of reality. And so I'm hoping she'll spend the first half hour just discussing that so that we can understand when we get into ceremony with her leading, what we're really doing. So, that's what's happening. So she will be there at 6, but we're not going to do the actual prayer until the second hour.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And you guys are going to be on, Dolly and Deb and Colleen, so.
Okay.
Hopefully Jean can make it, because then she brings in the watchers, but they'll be there regardless, so.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm. So, let's move along to Trump, because we're going to have more on Standing Rock. So, Trump is backing the frickin' pipeline, which makes me think, okay, so his nose is still being led by the money, and he's not even the president yet. But I have every faith and hope that even though Trump is doing this crap, and we know he'll do more crap, that I think that America finally has a chance at doing something different. Whether it's going to be right, wrong, indifferent, whatever. We aren't going to have to follow the old traditions. We're crooks, we're in office, and we're going to screw you. At least it's going to be something different. We may get screwed in a different way, but may be more pleasurable. Who knows? I think we have hope now. And with Standing Rock happening, and all these people standing up and saying no, it shows people who didn't think that we could do anything. Oh, well, what I do isn't going to count. Yes, it does count. Every one of those people at Standing Rock count. Every one of us who are talking about it and airing it, we count. Every one of you people who are listening, opening your minds, opening your hearts, and talking to other people, you count. Everybody counts. And I think this is opening those avenues at this time to show people, yes, we can make a difference. But, any other comments on Trump and his stand on this?
Well, can I throw something in there? Because when the opposition movement was going on, and everybody sort of has put that aside and forgotten about it. When that was going on, I wrote a paper, mainly for myself, to compare what was happening at the time of the Vietnam protests to what was happening at the time of the occupation protest. Now, in Vietnam, first off, I was stunned because the more I looked into it, even though I was there, the more I realized it was a world event. There was 1 million people protesting in London that I never heard of. At the same time we were protesting in the States. I'm not going to get into the details of either scenario, but the main difference, well, one of the key differences, let's put it that way, in the Vietnam versus the opposition was in Vietnam there was a clear subject that everybody was focused on, that was the Vietnam War. In the opposition movement, they were like, something's wrong. I don't know what it is, but something's wrong. There were no leaders. There were a few people out there, truthers, that had it down. And, well, it's the federal government, the Fed and the Federal Reserve, and it's this and it's that. And, they had the facts. But most people just were like, there's just something wrong. There's something wrong, okay? And then you have those people, the opposition people out there, who seemingly went away. I don't think they went away. I think they're the ones that voted for Trump. Okay? I think it was all those people that went out into the streets and those people that felt a camaraderie with them that said, something's wrong, we need a change. And so the only change that was viable to them was Trump. So now you've got a situation in Standing Rock where, again, you're getting opposition forces coming together against a very specific subject, a pipeline. But this time this is bigger than Vietnam ever was, because you've got a situation of spiritual growth. Maybe it was there at Vietnam too, I'm sure it was, but we didn't realize it. At least this time we're realizing it. So when I see Trump, I see him as a potential for change, one, and that if we really do believe that it's human beings that create the reality, and that how many people believe in something is how powerful it gets. They don't want us waking up like the Native Americans have never had to wake up. They knew it. And if Trump decides, or Trump is like a pawn in a story, he's a character. Whoever wins the character. So the fact that he stands up for the pipeline right now, does that mean that he's still not a really, good person who's going to make a difference? Not really. Because you've got all these forces, and that's what we feel, is these forces, these two realities fighting each other for who's got more attention. And Standing Rock is making a lot more attention. Trump is making a lot more attention. People are paying attention to what's happening in D.C. The man's not even president, and every time he farts, they're on it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's all this massive story that we're involved in, that is, if you stand back and look at it as a story of humankind. Three Crow and I talked about it, was like, nobody would believe it. The synchronicities that are involved in this. I mean, think of it. All the stuff that they've put against the Native Americans. I mean, the awful things that they've done. When you read the list, you can't even believe it. That they couldn't even speak their own language until 1990. The kids were being taken away until 1978. Dates like you can't even believe that this was happening. And yet through all this, these are the people who are standing up and forcing the rest of the country to come to grips with this. There's more people that know more about pipelines and more people that know about the fact that Wells Fargo's got money in a thing, and Trump's got apparently stocks. Apparently it wasn't all the stocks probably that he sold. So it's just, there's these big stories that seem to be somehow or another connected, but that's what I'm feeling.
It's starting to get exposed.
And they're trying to keep it off the TV a lot, and they're trying to keep some of it off the internet, but they're not winning. And enough people are on the internet now, so we have avenues to get access other than the TV.
Yep. I don't get my news off the TV.
No, a lot of
I don't believe them.
I don't either. I don't even have a TV. And I think a lot of us, I know several people that are actually up there, and I know we do from this station, and I bet a lot of people know someone or know someone that knows someone that's up at Standing Rock now. And it's big, it is huge. And I'm actually, I don't like what's happening, but I'm happy for what's happening, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about it too.
Me too.
Yep. And Trump, I don't know. It's all like watching the show. It's all part of it. It's all part of it.
Well, I did see on somewhere, well, I think it might have been on the internet, and we know the internet never lies. But Trump and his family had gone out to dinner and they didn't tell the press.
Yeah.
And so the press didn't realize that they were that they could follow him to the restaurant. And the press people just had a frickin' fit. Well, you're supposed to tell us we have the right to follow you everywhere. I don't think anyone has the right to stalk anyone. I don't care if they are a public official. I don't care who they are. I just found that to be rather childish and ridiculous.
Reminds me of Princess Diana and how much trouble she had.
That was awful what they did to her.
Yep. That's what they do.
Well, you know what I find really kind of intriguing in a certain weird way is the fact that they're not going to move to the White House.
Or is he moving? He's not. I knew she wasn't, but he's not.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to commute, but officially, I guess he's not going to. I understood he officially wasn't going to make a move there.
Okay.
Oh, I wondered about him. I heard she wasn't moving there.
Right. Me too. Same thing.
And
wow.
the excuse I heard was that their little boy was still in school. Yeah.
And I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Me too. I think it's fine. Yeah. I don't know about him though. Well, if he's there doing his duty, I guess, but just not living there.
Well, I get this picture of this empty White House.
Yeah.
You know, it's like every time I sort of think that way, I see this empty building, a vestige of what was.
Right. Interesting.
So from a symbolic standpoint, Colleen, you got your mic open? We're hearing pounding. Are you having a drumming session?
Yeah. We're starting early.
Starting early, yeah. Yeah, so the Trump situation, who knows? I just pray for the man. I hope that he can do the things that what the people hope he can do, make a change that's a positive change for everybody.
Yeah, I'm dreading that meeting that he's going to have where they tell him, you're the puppet, we're the puppeteers. So keep your mouth shut unless you say what we tell you to. I'm wondering, is he going to look at them and tell them F off?
Well, the guy knows, InfoWars, Alex, what's his last name? Jones? Is that right? And is a friend of his. So if he doesn't understand that there's a cabal out there, that he's going after 9/11 right away. That's going to start turning things upside down. So I can see that he probably knows more than like Obama, unless Obama was in it from the get-go. According to Wilcox, no, he was not. He sort of like got surprised.
I think Obama got surprised too.
You're not going to surprise Trump.
No. And they can't blackmail Trump. He's pretty much an open book. Unless there are some real tight secrets there that he has, but he's pretty much been an open book.
Yeah, for good or bad.
Yeah. Whether we liked it or not.
Right.
Hey, that reminds me. Whatever happened to the group that is trying to help the country that went undercover and they're telling people, the politicians, hey, you need to play with us or we're going to expose.
Anonymous.
Yeah.
That's it. Whatever happened with Anonymous? Are they still out there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
They actually are they've been doing a series of, videos.
Right.
There's a different voice behind it, still the mask, it still feels like them. I can only go by what it feels like, and it feels like them. And the first video I saw, was concerning the, Lolita Express. They were the ones that came out with that first, as far as I know. That was the first time I heard about it, where there was this, plane that was, taking people places with sex with children, basically.
Oh, that. Ooh.
And, so they came out with that one, and they came out with another one that was about, Soros, George Soros. And that he was doomed. And I see something today came up, and it wasn't anonymous, it was somebody else saying he's doomed, but they could just be mimicking anonymous. And then there was one this week, and what the heck was that one about? I'm not exactly sure. I think I got tired with it. It was boring me because I knew the information, so I don't think I was really paying attention. Anonymous. But what happens is that, I got really as an intelligence officer, one of the things you look for are things you can't see, that you should be seeing. And Anonymous fell off the radar there for a while, and I started asking, anybody heard anything from Anonymous? Because they're very quiet. And that's when they came out, they were doing the, change on the oil, the control over the oil and the, stock market, and doing a lot of other things. I talk about it, and Bill Brockbrader, talks about it in his last messages to us. So, I don't know where they've been, but they were gone for a bit. Now they're back. So they're up to something. And I do trust that they're still there. You know that because you can touch Bill.
I feel it. But I haven't heard anything. Of course, I don't watch the news because I think they're a bunch of liars.
Oh, well,
so
probably on YouTube, or they put out videos, I know.
I'm calling you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Nancy.
Colleen, what are you saying here? Anonymous is also talking about the disappearance of Assad?
Yes. They're saying they haven't heard from him for a month, and that his last communication was, I'm in trouble. They're trying to get me, help kind of stuff. And then his internet was taken down because his comments were hurting the election results. And then they've not heard from him or seen him in the window at the embassy he's staying at.
Wow.
But he's
who is he, Colleen?
Julian Assange is one of the first ones to start leaking secrets.
WikiLeaks.
Oh.
And he's held in, is Argentina? Is it Argentina?
Or Ecuador, somewhere.
Yeah. He's been there 4 years.
Oh my gosh, in their embassy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he can't leave and all that. However, his cat is still seen in the window, but he has not. And they're saying that WikiLeaks has been compromised, that there's stuff coming out that just does not sound like him or any of those that were helping him. So they're concerned that all the information that all of the other people's involved with that has been taken down, or their accounts and all that, because they have secret codes that they have to put in order to view the information that Assange has sent. Their computers have been hacked. So there's a lot of concern about that. And they're hoping that he sent thumb drives to people with the information on it so that the information can still come out. And, as of course, with these whistleblowers, they've said that if anything happens to them, that there's a system in place that the codes will automatically be sent so that everybody can put all that information out at once. So, there's still big-time concerns over Assange. Even Alex Jones is talking about that.
Maybe he got moved to a safer place than that. Oh.
Well, that's what people are hoping for, that he's just kind of laying low for a little bit. But then there also is concern that he's being tortured, that he's been killed. So we just don't know at this point what's going on with him. And then
we need to send prayers and good energies his way.
And then, of course, that also brings to mind Snowden being held, he's in Russia somewhere. So, yeah, they're really, really, really trying to hide all their secrets, and you know how they work. If you got secrets and you're telling, they try to kill you, so.
Yeah.
And Hillary also, had said something about, can't we just disappear him?
Oh.
So.
Well, leave it to her to say that.
Well, and I'm sure that a whole lot of people are saying the same thing, because any information he has on her, there's a whole lot more people involved in all of that are pointing those pointing the finger at her, are also like, ah, shit. So, let's make her look really, really bad and let her take the fall, because we're all involved. And she's also said, hey, if I go down, we all go down. So
I wonder how long she's gonna live.
In a way, it's so funny, like I'm listening to all this and I take a step back, and it's just like when you go to a movie. It sounds just like a movie, and you know how they always say life is but a dream. So this is the movie we're in right now. And it's big, and it is change, and there's many elements of it, but it is the movie. We are watching the big movie.
Even though a lot of the things that we're seeing look really upsetting and negative, I tend to think.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah. I tend to think it's actually a good thing that we're seeing.
We're ready. We're ready.
Yeah. So we're not really talking bad stuff. We're talking, hey, this is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
There's
been
much more behind it than just the movie, It's fascinating. Well, I say that word too much. But it's fascinating. Yeah, it's the shift. It's definitely the shift. What they were talking about in 2012, and it's here.
Well, wasn't something supposed to happen in 2012?
They said, I never felt it. I feel it now.
I absolutely did feel it.
You did?
Did you?
Yeah.
What did you feel?
Yeah, Nancy.
Well, remember, it goes back to 2000 when I did this timeline change.
Okay.
And at the time that I did that, I really had very little knowledge of timelines. So from there until 2012, I was studying how these things work, and also was aware of a number of, there was Looking Glass, and there was, there was another one that were using computers to figure out what the future would be.
Okay.
and that they were having problems in that every time, and it was part of the Montauk Project, when they would send people into the future, they couldn't get past 2012.
Oh.
So, I knew that, well, okay, something happens to the timelines as we get closer to 2012. And what I saw happening was they were collapsing. And it was like all of a sudden you'd get this wave of energy that would be a merging of a timeline, so that the timelines were just merging together. But they were very similar. There was only slight differences in most of them that were coming together. In the end, you only had two major realities that were there at 2012. One Armageddon, and the other one, I call it goody two-shoes, where you have this enlightenment thing and you go off into being a blissful person. As soon as we went through this collapsing, and we went through this, we think of it as a calendar date, but in fact it was going between the Piscean and the Aquarian age and into the photon belt of vast amounts of energy. So it was like going through a singularity. I saw it as a singularity. And when we came out the other side into 2013, it was like every possible timeline was there again. And I was aware that people were, I got this new possible job, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And everybody was very much into, I'm going to do. And then I watched it start to crash in again, and the timeline started to coalesce until you ended up by August, you had the two timelines back again. Virtually all, there were ebbs and tides of timelines, but the vast complex of timelines just wasn't there. But you had, again, these two major timelines. And that's when, by the time we got to 2014, and then particularly in 2015, people had begun to realize that they needed to create a third timeline. And that's in many different ways.
Who they?
Well, I did. Walt did.
Okay.
Anelia Bentz, she said the same thing, is that, there's only these two timelines, and then all of a sudden she said, I'm feeling a third one. And it was because more and more people couldn't quite get into this ascending, it doesn't make any sense, I don't know what you're talking about, but they could get into a perceived reality where everything is fair. You live by the golden rule.
Right.
Do unto others as you'd have done unto yourself. So that kind of people thinking that way started creating it. And then Walt and I said, well, let's just do it. Let's just make a new timeline. And so we gave a story to how we make a new timeline. And the key is who's got the best story. Well, if you don't go out and you don't think in terms of creating stories by creating situations of what if we did this? Then you're sitting back and you're just reading or you're watching it. But, Walt and I, we like to dicker into, Dave knows that, we like to go where angels fear to tread. And so we just said, let's try to do this. And we were not alone. We had the voice of radio. Everything we did for 2 years is chronicled on audio tape. So it's the same situation here, is that we've got the potential of just deciding what we want to happen. But we've got to get enough people to listen to us, to believe. Or do we? Maybe it's just a matter of us just keep talking, keep thinking, keep pounding the collective consciousness that you gotta pay attention to this. This is a magical moment in humanity. And if we keep doing this, since we first started this, I don't think I've had a show, and I have sometimes 4 a week, where I didn't talk about this subject. And that's all of us. We keep going back to it because it's that important.
The subject of the timeline, you mean?
No, the subject of the Standing Rock.
Okay.
And what's happening. And, all of if we didn't talk about how Standing Rock and Trump are somehow seem to be in the same story, there's a connection there. If we didn't talk about this, nobody'd think about it, therefore it wouldn't be in the collective.
Right.
Because we do these shows, we influence that collective. And, that's what it's about. It's about the power of our own thinking.
Well, thank you for explaining that, because I didn't feel anything on 2012. I did feel some sort of shift on January of 13, but I didn't understand. That makes sense with the two timelines and then condensing, and then now you guys making or creating a third, or all of this. And it still always, I tend to go back to that Lilu a lot, because it kind of ties in with some of what she said too. So,
yeah, what's the latest with Lilu?
Oh, they've talked to her again, but I think it's been another week. They were co-opted. There was a lot of people coming in and they had to protect, so they were being hacked and they could feel the difference. But he, whatever it is, made another appearance. But I can't remember the information. I haven't been watching it too closely because I've been more interested in Standing Rock.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
Standing Rock is real. This Lilu, I don't know.
I don't either. But I like some of the things that came up. It felt right, and it kind of, to me, feels like some of what Nancy's saying too. And I really feel this is a huge time. I don't know.
I do too, but I felt that before. I did not feel an election happening. I still don't get the feeling that an election happened.
Well, he's not in yet. See what happens. It's kind of crazy.
But the morning when I woke up after the election, I was so excited and didn't know why.
I felt really good too, and I wasn't for either one, but I woke up, I was a little surprised, but I immediately had a wave of happiness.
Yeah.
For some, not for any particular mental reason. I was just like, wow. So,
Nancy, speaking of the change on the morning we woke up and we felt this change, do you think that in the timeline, in that third timeline, this all happened, and a lot of people started to get excited that we weren't going to go down that old road with the old political crap? Do you think the timeline has anything? Is it affected?
Absolutely. What happened was that we were doing the show, and you bailed because you didn't want to listen to it. It was the night of the election.
Yeah.
And when we got into the second hour, I suddenly began to think in terms of timelines, and I said, look we don't need to. Now, I had just done a complete, going back in history of our radio shows and how, there's a synchronicity involved in the whole storyline. And so I get and I'm going, timelines. I said, it doesn't matter who was elected. We can change the timeline so that the person that is elected doesn't have all this gunk, this karma, this bad stuff. That it's a brand new timeline. It's a brand new reality. It's something that we can work with. They work for us. We don't have to follow them. They work for us. They do what we tell them to do. It's just a matter of focusing on it. Mm-hmm. So I go off on this little rant, and then I proceed to watch the entire election thing on spin, and I just kept laughing. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was like, this just nothing about it made sense if you were a 3D person only.
Right.
If you were spiritual, you're going like, whoa, this is amazing. And so then what happened was that I found out that Starfire Tor had actually, and she works with timelines. She's really amazing. I've been following her for a decade. And she works with timelines, and she can tell when timelines are going to shift, and she's very able to see certain things in the future using psi power, and just fascinating woman. And she had found that as we approached the election period this year, 16, that there was, she was seeing different, like I say, there's like ripples of timelines. So you got the two main and then the third one that's now involved in it, but they're all rippling. They all have little versions of it depending on who's doing what and who's thinking what, because remember, it's all fluid. And what she was seeing is that every time that Hillary won, it ended in a nuclear catastrophe. And every time Trump would win, everything continued. There was no nuclear disaster. So she's got thousands of followers. She got her followers to sort of focus in not on whether it was Trump or Clinton, but who would make a better president. Right. What qualities do you need in a president? And so they began to focus on the qualities. And she was telling people she was intently trying to influence what timeline the election took. So there was active participation in the concept of control over timeline. And that's what I think happened, is that the only reason that he got in there was because so many people had already changed the reality. Now, the reality being that the cabal is in complete control. We're under a matrix. We do what they tell us to do. Okay? And instead, you've got this new version of reality that says, oh my God, they actually thought for themselves, and they actually made did an election where they voted in somebody who doesn't even make sense by the cabal standards. Mm-hmm. So it by its very nature, the fact that Trump was elected indicates a timeline change. It could never have happened on the other one. And it probably wouldn't have happened in the La-di-da one, because in the La-di-da one, Jesus comes back, the angels come down, the ETs, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I wouldn't mind the La-di-da one.
I'm more for being hands-on and creating a reality that gives us a better storyline. Now, better in that, look at the La-di-da one, I'm afraid was where we started, and it got boring, and so we started this other stuff up. And so I don't want to flip into that thing and be bored. So let's try something else. Let's try creating a reality that has a certain amount of, I don't know what's going to happen, and it's fun. And, and without with the knowledge that we're not in jeopardy, like playing a digital game. You're not going to get hurt even if you get killed. that's what it's about anyway.
Yeah. We're born to die. Yes.
We're creating.
Well, I feel like I was born to play the game.
I don't mind playing the new game, but if we had been stuck with the Hillary group and the same old crap, I would have wanted the what do you call it? The La La Land? The La-di-da.
Goody two-shoes land.
I would prefer that if we had to be with the other group. But now that Trump is in and we've got we don't know what's going to happen stuff, I'm excited.
We've got Standing Rock. See, this is the crucial thing.
Yeah.
It's like whatever comes out of Standing Rock is the future. Because if they don't stop that snake, prophecy says it's the end. The end of what?
Yeah, really.
Or who knows?
Yeah. And I'm not gonna dispute prophecy that was prophesized, I don't know, 1,000 years ago. I don't know when this actually came about, but I'm not gonna, question the validity of, people of such strong spirituality as the native indigenous people, the first people, that they believed this for all this time. If they believe it, well, they're going to imbue it with reality.
Uh-huh.
And that's what they're seeing. And so they have to stop it. Now, I can only imagine how mission-oriented they are to stop this thing.
Oh, it's their livelihood. Yeah.
It's everything that they believe is is right there. You either believe it or you don't. And if you believe it, you have to stop it, regardless of what it costs.
Do you think this would change, be the collapse of the 3 or 2, 3 timelines to one timeline? Maybe that's, I don't know. Feeling that.
Oh, it's a crucial energy vortex that's occurring. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, reminds me of Lilu. Getting back to the original blueprint. And they're living, from what I've read. Now I'm not there, of course, and some of the reports we've had on Wolf Spirit anyway too. They're living what is that called? Ubuntu, or the community or the village. They're all really cooperative in the protectors. Village.
Well, they have to be.
Well, and I think that's where the direction this whole planet may be going back to, and that may be part of the original timeline and the way some of the natives live too. So maybe it's just a big example. It's definitely pulling it up to the surface for us all to look at, which is wow. And it's getting weird.
I wouldn't want to go back to an original timeline. We've already mucked those up.
Mm-hmm. No,
I want to go on with this third timeline where nothing is known.
The third timeline might be the original, where we're the golden rule and we're cooperative and we work together and we don't have the corporations as people, perhaps.
That's exactly true, because what I finally realized is the timeline we were trying to create was actually the original Garden of Eden timeline.
Yeah.
That we need to think in terms of not creating a new one, but creating bridges to the old, the first, the original, that saw Adam and Eve could walk around naked. There was no secrets. There was no shame.
Right.
There was, none of that was there, and there was a complete connection to nature. They were there to be the dominion and to take care of the Garden of Eden. The basic premise of the Garden of Eden is what then got translated by the indigenous people into what is now being tested at Standing Rock. And it's that's why I'm just like, I'm a storyteller. This is like the best story I've ever heard.
That's why I always call it a movie, but yeah, it really is. It's wow. And, Dolly, it doesn't have to be original, maybe just the basis of it, but we can still do with those, constructs or thought processes or humanity and Earth working together, and make it the direction we want. It doesn't mean necessarily backwards to certain things, but backwards to a way of being in the heart. At least the way I feel.
Take the good stuff and move on with that, yeah. I can deal with that, yeah. I can buy into that one.
And you're not in a box, but don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah, don't put me in a damn box. Jeez.
And don't let people think they can ever be perfect.
Right.
Because that to me is like, what is the fun in being perfect?
Yeah, we got it.
I mean, I've laughed more about the stupid things I've done in my life than, said, oh great, I'm perfect. I've never been perfect. Nobody ever gets there. You don't have to. You just have to have fun.
It's part of the experience and part of the learning and yeah, it's part of the fun.
Well,
it does seem like it sometimes, but
if you're perfect, you got nothing to learn. You got no excitement in your life. It's boring.
That's the boring.
Yeah, the goody two-shoes reality.
Oh, the la-di-da. Yeah.
I don't mind walking around naked, though.
Me either. I
do because it scares the animals. The first time, with my German Shepherds, now I had 2 German Shepherds that then had pups, and the pups were here and the 2 German Shepherds were here, and for some reason the phone rang, I don't know what it was, but I ran around the corner naked and they all looked at me like, oh my God, what happened to you? You've been skinned! Apparently they'd never seen me naked, but... So, yeah, I don't like to do that in front of the kids.
My girls have seen plenty of it. I was never modest in my life. But that's the way my parents raised me, evidently. My dad was always sitting around in his underwear. My mom was always running around naked. It's just the way I was raised. I had no inhibitions when it comes to that.
Well,
I don't know that you ever really left the Garden of Eden.
There we go.
I've said you got your feet planted in it.
Well, it's a nice place to be. People get along, and if there is a tiff, they make up. In my thoughts of it. And the lions lay with the lamb.
Nothing, whatever they need.
Amen.
Don't try messing with my Bible, damn it.
That's on a different timeline, whatever they've got on there now.
Well, you know, that's something about the timeline in the Trump thing, because when I didn't stay up to hear him say, "Oh, I won the presidency, thank you very much," and I didn't get to it until the next day. And when I'm waiting for him to come out behind this curtain, I'm sitting there and TV's on and they're playing the video. No, I guess I was on YouTube. And he comes out, and as soon as I saw his energy field, I started crying because it was not the same man. Now the Trump that was campaigning, I couldn't handle but a few seconds of him before I was like wanting to vomit and I couldn't listen to him. And yet I see this guy come out and his energy is totally different. He looks different. His hair is not this red mop thing that he continually had on when he was campaigning, as far as I remembered. And, you know, he gives this speech. I didn't even hear what he was saying because I was so enthralled with the fact that standing next to him was his son that I had never seen before that was definitely a star child.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm looking at this energy and I'm going like, whoa. And so because of the Mandela effect that you just referenced in regards to the lion and the lamb, I went online and I put in the images Donald Trump. And when I looked at it, which was, you know, probably, I don't know, it must have been about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I would say that 2/3 of the pictures that came up was with him with red hair. Now, I left the thing, huh?
Orange hair. Yeah, reddish orange.
Reddish orange too, even, you know, in some of them it was more like a ginger color. Yeah. But there was definitely not a predominance of white hair or gray hair. That was a couple of pictures was all, you know, comparatively. Yeah. So I left the link up and it was like, you know, 10, 12 hours later when I'm shutting down that I go back to this thing and I was like stunned because now, even though I haven't changed it, I haven't uploaded different nothing. It's the same page is up. Now, I would say that it had reversed and that almost all the pictures were gray and white.
Yeah.
And very few of the red, one of the red like I really remembered it, and the others were some of the ginger colored.
Yep, I've noticed that too. That it's
okay. So then everything felt good, Deb. And then I went and I said, okay, things started getting squirrely. Trump was doing things that seemed like the old Trump, not the new Trump. And so I went back and I looked again, and now some of the red ones are back. It's like 50-50.
We gotta keep out positive that the gray one stays.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, on that note, we're running to 6 and I gotta do an angel card.
Okay.
And we can continue on the next, say what. Angels, please take a look at who's here now, who will be here, who, will be listening and hearing this show. Help me to draw the right card. It's so dark I can't even see. Oh, this one for sure, huh? Boy, I get everything on my hairs stand up and let me see if I gotta turn on a light. Come on, Dolly. There. Oh, wow. Let there be light. Oh, I can see. This is what number? 16. Gotta get my little card thing up here.
And the angel sings.
This is Archangel Phanuel, Phanuel, and it's kindness.
Oh.
Archangel Phanuel brings in the energy of pure kindness of the heart. How kind are you towards yourself, dear one? Phanuel asks you to examine your kindness towards yourself, your kindness towards strangers, friends, and family. If you have not been feeling kind towards yourself, start with baby steps. One kind gesture at a time. Maybe it's a friend or family member that you have not been kind to recently. Phanuel is here to help you feel kindness in your heart. Start there, feeling Fanuel's kindness for you in your heart. Breathe in this pure kindness. Give thanks to Fanuel for this genuine kindness. It always comes up with the perfect stuff, I'm telling you. Because we need to be sending kind thoughts, even to those people that we're saying are the bad peoples, the enforcers. We need to send them kindness and love. Try to touch their hearts so they can open up and take a good look at what's transpiring, what they're doing. Okay, that's it for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I want to thank you all for coming and listening. Next, we are having Say What, and actually it's a continuation of Deb, Nancy, Colleen, me, and we're adding Barbara Three Crow, and possibly Jean Rockefeller. Depends on her energies. What else do you want to say about later today, Colleen? Maybe nothing.
Oh, I was muted and unmuted and instead muted, so who knows?
Oh, you were playing with yourself.
What? Not in years, Dolly.
I couldn't help it. Sorry about that. No, I'm not. It was fun.
If we're not having fun, we're doing something wrong.
That's right. So what's going on, Dolly?
We'll just be, I'm thrown for a loop here. I'll be putting your outro on maybe now, and then we'll be continuing this discussion and adding Barb during the second hour. And then after that is...
Oh, you're gonna put Barb on now.
First.
I am?
Barb, yes. Barb's coming on now because Jean's not.
Oh, okay, so we're... Okay. So I'm doing whatever Nancy tells me to do.
I really got her flustered. I'm sorry. Yeah, I really am sorry.
Well, maybe Barbara doesn't want to come on anymore. We better get off before No, I don't want to do this.
Oh, it's
We're
good
coming,
to laugh.
Okay. I'm putting on the outro now so that I can start the recording for the next show.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
you're gonna give us a little break here before, so we can go do what we have to do?
Gotta go potty.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, wait.
All right.
All right, moving the player. All right.
Look.